to Culture Illiterate, a podcast where four friends overthink movies about cars and family. I am Jake, and cancel culture isn't real. I wanted to be opinionated this evening.
This morning.
I'm not sure if it's an opinion or not.
Well, I mean, you're right.
Sounds
it's a
like
fact.
a fact more than anything.
Sorry, I want to be, emotionally opinionated and factually correct.
Yeah, Jake woke up this morning and he wants to shoot facts and logic in your face.
Don't ever say that.
I mean, it is conceptually real.
Everything's conceptually real.
If I think about it, it's real.
Yeah. Sean conceptualizes us naked every day. Doesn't make it real.
What do you mean it doesn't make it real? Of course it's real. It's real in my head, and it's real. That's where it matters when I'm on the toilet every morning.
I am naked at least once a day.
There's a little definition of a fantasy, so I don't think that's the case.
It's not a fantasy if it's real.
I'm gonna introduce myself now.
I was like, I'm about to start us over. This is going off the rails. I should pick a new fun fact.
Well, I'm Jason.
Yeah, shoot another fun fact, and I'll derail it immediately.
What?
He said that if you try another fun fact, he'll derail it immediately again.
I control the edit.
That's talking about shooting people.
I can cut that out entirely.
I'm gonna put more work in for you. I'm gonna talk more than any episode before, so that you will have more work to do.
Hello, bar.
I'm Jason.
Exactly.
And I think that cancel culture only exists because of Twitter and things. Because when you think about it, like back in the day, if someone got upset about something or offended by something or thought someone should be quote unquote canceled, they just said it to themselves. And then but these days anybody can say anything. You know what I mean? It's not that people have gotten more sensitive, it's just that sensitive people have a voice now.
Like Matt. Matt shouldn't have a voice.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're in Trump's America now.
That's why we're gonna mute
our
every
guy won,
thing.
Guys.
Our guy won. That's why we're gonna mute Matt every single time he speaks in this podcast. He gets a little feature so that we get the little checkbox for having somebody who's not white here, and then we mute him.
I'm going to get deported, and then I only could be bought back with a 30% tariff.
Hey! If you have $1 million, Matt, you can get a gold card.
Oh yeah! If only I had a small amount of $1 million, that would be so nice.
I feel like we should refrain from talking about buying and selling Matt.
Probably.
What? Wait, why? Cancel culture doesn't exist.
You're right, but it doesn't mean you should do it.
Well, we're not gonna...
You should do the right thing, not out of fear, but because it's the right thing. And I think the right thing is not selling people. I don't care if we get hate. I think it's bad to sell people.
We're not actually selling him.
Hey, I'm just
giving us $1 million.
Unpopular opinion, had to say it.
Unpopular opinion, selling people is wrong.
Listen to him grandstand. Who was selling anyone? We were talking about it. A conversation isn't an action.
Jason just denied the existence of the transatlantic slave trade.
No.
I distinctly heard that nobody ever in any capacity ever bought or sold a human. That's what you said, right?
See, no, now you're putting words in my mouth. No, you fabricated things.
You're just spreading fake news. What trade?
You didn't even take me out of context. You just created more context.
I control the edit, and therefore I control the context. You'll say whatever I want you to say.
Can we run all of us through a little AI tool so that we can all have our own little voices, and then we can have them all talk to each other and watch as everything just goes to hell?
No, but I think I think if we ever get successful, we should have a soundboard of each other.
Edible code.
Yeah, that'd be on it. Did everyone did only me and Jason introduce ourselves?
Correct.
Yes. I guess I'm next. I'm Matt. Bye.
No, he's gone.
He's bisexual. That's what he meant by that.
I wish. I'd be more fun if I was.
I wish.
I'm Sean. I don't have a fun fact other than I shoved my my elbow into my cup of coffee and got it on everything right before hopping onto this call. So my agony is immense.
It
Why'd
could
you
have
do
been
that?
it could have been worse. I picked up the call and immediately Matt burped super loud in my ear. Like I turned around, I thought he was behind me.
Yeah, and then what was it? I was looking around because I just started hearing laughter. I'm like, where the fuck is that coming from? And I realized Jake was in the call. I'm like, oh shit.
And then I realized Jake was right behind me.
Is that what you guys were talking about when I joined the call?
Yeah.
It was.
Because Matt was
That's
like,
why Jake
I was
was-
across the room when I did that.
Yeah, that's why Jake was dying of laughter, and I was just like, how did you hear that? I was across the fucking room.
Yeah, it was loud, man. I had headphones in, it was loud.
Damn. I should have saved it for the podcast.
You should have. That would have been fantastic if I had gotten that on recording. It would have been
That's
the
unfortunate.
funniest
You know
thing we've
what?
ever done.
When nature calls, I'll hold it in.
And Matt has gone.
Nobody
He's-
says
when
nature calls talking about burps.
I just like Matt said when nature calls and just disappeared, didn't explain, stopped talking, is muted.
Wait, what? I was talking. I got cut off. Oh, god damn it.
You were talking.
We
I
heard
had
no
idea.
part after that.
Yeah, I was talking. I said,
Oh,
what was it? When
I
nature
heard-
calls, I'll hold it in. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
We had a whole
we
thing
heard
where we
that.
responded to that.
Oh, okay. I wasn't paying attention.
I only
yeah,
heard the
what's
when
new?
nature calls part, and I did not hear after that. And I had my first thought would be if Matt's calling about when nature calls, he's talking about shitting.
So Sean and I had a
Maybe
nice
do
date
that.
last week.
That's sweet. What did you guys do?
Well, it's
Mom.
just like it's a small story-ish or anecdote. And just segueing into Rex, just because Sean and I were able to go to. We're from in the great city of Philadelphia, and the Philadelphia Film Society, a film nonprofit, puts on a lot of great screenings. We were able to go see Strange Darling in 35 millimeter, as well as had a Q&A with the lead, Kyle Gallner, after. And I wanted to make sure I recommended Strange Darling because it was a very intense movie. You feel like uncomfortable and safe throughout in the best way, but it's also one of the funniest movies I've watched in a while, and it's
so
very
fucking
good
goofy.
looking. It's very goofy. It was the first time I was able to see something on 35 millimeter, so that was a really cool experience. Looks beautiful, but I definitely wanted to recommend that for anyone who's into like horror, but kind of like unconventional type horror. It's definitely ambitious, but it's having fun with itself, and it's really it's a nice 90 minutes, and it's like pretty intense from the jump.
Had
It
you
was-
seen it before?
No,
or
I
was it-
hadn't seen it. Also Kyle Gallner, really cool guy. It seems he's from Westchester, Pennsylvania, and lives in Philly, and let out a Go Birds, and that got a great cheer from the crowd. So my type of
As
person.
usually does.
I mean, if you really want to cater to a Philadelphia crowd, just those two magical words would instantly win them over.
Yeah.
Correct.
I remember I was at a Wonder Years show in Philly one time, and before their encore, everyone was chanting "Big Dick Nick," and the Wonder Years, of course, are from the Philadelphia area, so they came out, and their singer Dan Campbell goes, "Oh, Philadelphia, you always know the way to my heart."
Big Dick Nick.
Do you ever call your friend Nick that?
Yeah, almost
better.
exclusively.
Cool. Good.
Yes.
Happy to hear that.
My
Oh,
God,
God,
yeah,
yeah,
that's so skinny. Jesus Christ. I'm
What?
withering
What's
away.
skinny?
You're withering
Sorry,
away.
no, I'm looking at myself in the in my
Doug
camera,
Jones
and
looking
my
ass.
arm looked so skinny.
Wow, you look like Joker.
No, he looks like Doug
You know,
Jones.
from
Which
from
Joker?
the Joker from the movie Joker. My favorite character, Joker,
Jonkler.
played by Jonkler.
Because depending on which iteration of the Joker, I was going to be offended.
You look just like Jared Leto.
Did you think we were going to say Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
Well, no. If any one of you told me I looked like Jared Leto, I was going to leave.
I just did.
Oh,
I know, but
I thought Joaquin Phoenix Joker was the worst, but then I realized Jared
You-
Leto is a person.
you
And,
don't
yeah, that's-
understand how much I hate Jared Leto.
Well, other than being a shitty human being.
Well, like, not even that. Like, listen, I can excuse that.
Oh yeah, cancel culture doesn't
No,
exist.
I'm joking. I'm joking. For the record, I'm not excusing Jared Leto being a bad person. I just also think he's annoying as shit.
Matt, aren't you glad he's going to be in like one of your favorite stories, Tron? That
I'm so
that
fucking pissed
franchise
about that.
is-
Oh, I was
future
so
is in
happy.
his
In
hands.
fact, I was so ecstatic I didn't watch the trailer, just out of pure spite. Despite how much I love the Tron aesthetic and art style, I cannot stand that man.
Yeah, I
And
was
it's
pretty
unfortunate
excited
because
about
that
that
man
too.
is unfortunately very talented and very good at what he does. But I hate him.
But he's
And I
also
hate the
done
fact that
some
he's
really
in, I hate
bad
the fact
shit
he's in
sometimes.
exactly.
But he
And
just,
I hate how he's now involved in one of my favorite IPs.
Like,
I also hate that it's a Disney property, but that's secondary at this point.
have you heard his recent music?
No, I
is-
don't want to listen to it.
It is not good.
I didn't realize that like
Tell
still
me, Jason.
got made.
Jason, tell
What?
me. Does it reach Corey Feldman territory?
It's just like no, not. It's just like it's weird for the sake of being weird at points, and then it's also just super basic at times, and it's just not good. It's the best way I can describe it.
Oh,
And
that's
it's like,
unfortunate.
look, not that I was ever a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars per se, but like, they had some songs.
they had
The
some
Kill.
song.
The Kill is a phenomenal song. That is the one great thing that Jared Leto gave us. And I'll never
Unfortunate.
deny that.
I was kind of hoping
Unfortunate.
that when you said Jared Leto music, I was kind of hoping it was bad to the point where it was hysterical, like Corey Feldman's
No.
angelic to the core. For those who don't know, and Corey Feldman started in the Goonies, even though that word now has a much different definition than it did in the past.
Not
He made
Goonies.
an album called Angelic to the Core, and it is one of the worst and yet hilarious albums I have ever listened to in my life.
Matt,
Yeah.
Matt, let me tell you, you don't understand. It's about drive. It's about power.
I mean, no, I mean Leto can sing. He just doesn't make good music. Just like he can act, but he
Yeah.
doesn't often make good films.
No, you know what he was really good in though was the Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh,
That's
I
a
mean,
good
he's
movie.
not always. I'll defend his performance in House of Gucci till the day I die. But generally speaking, bad decisions are made on his part when acting.
Well, yeah, well, not even just acting, but
Well, yes, allegedly. Okay, but you know what? Fast and Furious, that's a Jared Leto free world, has not been tainting any of those.
Look.
Knock on wood.
What a transition! Way to
I
get
know,
it back
well-
on track.
Well, I
Wow.
mean, it was less getting it back on track and getting it off of Leto. Call it an underage girl because I wanted to get it off of Leto. That didn't land. Allegedly.
Bars.
I don't
Allegedly.
it's like
Um,
barely alleged.
Hey, I'm
It's like all
in
but
very
proven.
tiny text allegedly. You know,
Asterisk.
Google if you're ever curious, Google like Cole Sprouse, James Gunn, Jared Leto. If you want to see what people in that industry maybe feel about allegedlyness. Anyway, yeah, we're talking about Furious 7, which I'm gonna tell you right from the start, this is my favorite Fast movie, which released on April 3rd, 2015, and would be Paul Walker's last appearance as Brian O'Connor before his tragic passing. Brian O'Connor also, the role's also filled by his brothers Caleb and Cody Walker, who stepped in to help finish filming. It also stars Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto, Jason Statham as Deckard Shaw, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty Ortiz, Jordana Brewster as Mia Toretto. Excuse me, I had to yawn. Tyrese Gibson as Roman Pierce, Ludacris as Tej Parker, Dwayne Johnson as Hobbs, Jaimin Hunsu as Jaconde, and wonderful additions of Kurt Russell as Mr. Nobody and Natalie Emmanuel as Ramsey, with also Elsie Pataki as making an appearance as Elena, and Lucas Black reprising his role from Tokyo Drift of Sean Boswell. These casts tire me out to say. It's written, but I want to mention all these people. I like so many of these characters.
You know, it would be really funny if we made it to Infinity War and Endgame. The amount of garbage list of like this massive thing you'd have to go through, I would die.
But I'd be much more likely to cut out less important characters in those movies than I am in this. Like, is Mia in this movie a ton? No, but I would never leave out Jordana Brewster as Mia from the cast list. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not going to not shout out like Lucas Black coming back, even if it's just one scene.
And it only expands.
Where it's just like, I don't need to include like let's not pretend that 60% of the characters in Endgame are like actually more than showing up. And I don't care if they get like I understand it's the same, but it's just not emotionally.
It was nice to see Lucas Black again, even though it was just a small cameo. And he looked like
World's Oldest Teenager.
Today. He looked like a 30-year-old man.
Definitely
a teenager.
18, not 38.
Guys, he's 100% just out of in high school.
Because my boy looked like he was in his mid-30s in Tokyo Drift, and this movie was made way later, and it's like still trying to sell this guy as a high school student.
When I first saw him, I thought it was a time skip, but then I remembered the end of Tokyo Drift. I'm like, oh wait, this is supposed to pick up immediately.
Yeah, because the start of this movie happens during the events of Tokyo Drift, and then you obviously have the Fast 6 post-credit scene as well. God, okay, so the movie was written by Gary Scott Thompson, directed by horror icon James Wan, with cinematography from Mark Spicer and Stephen Eckwinden. Okay, just wanted to get through those before we continue talking about World's Oldest Teenager.
James Wan did this.
James Wan has the sauce, man.
He does. I'm not denying that.
Between this, the Aquaman movies, and Malignant, he's balls to the walls, and I love it. Very gonzo.
He's very. He makes movies.
He knows how to make it fun.
Like he makes movies.
You know that man believes in the theatrical experience.
Exactly. He also just looks like a cool guy to me.
Yeah, he does. He seems. No, he has good vibes. Vibes. Yeah, so this Fast movie, like, kind of before the plot, this is maybe the one that, like, first kind of gave me an inkling to, like, maybe watch these things. It wasn't until like a couple movies later with Hobbs and Shaw that I actually made the jump and to start watching before that came out. But I remember this coming out, and obviously in the wake of Paul Walker's death, how big a deal it was and how much money it made and how good I kept hearing it was. It was the first time I was like, shoot, I go see those even though I haven't seen 1 through 6? So
Yeah,
I
and it
definitely
also
I was gonna say
sorry,
when I did
go
eventually
ahead.
watch it to get caught up before Hobbs and Shaw, I went in with so much expectation, but also like largely incorrect preconceived notion. Like just from the jump, I assumed Brian dies. He does not.
No, he gets to
Yeah,
ride off into the sunset.
I kind of just assumed that
I
given what happened to Paul Walker, that Brian, the character, also died until I saw the movie. So yeah, I also thought that, but the other thing that I was going to point out about when this movie came out was that Charlie Puth and Wiz Khalifa song was just
everywhere.
absolutely everywhere. Like this
I
movie, you could not like turn on the radio or like the TV without seeing like clips of Fast and Furious and hearing this song.
I the one thing I also remember from when this movie came out was the amount of people who were there was like discussions of being upset about how with Paul Walker being dead, how they used his likeness in the movie at the end and it wasn't like his actual face, but they had to do like some CGI stuff to like superimpose his face over his brother's at the end.
But
And
I don't
then
think
I
it
just
came
think,
from a bad place, though.
oh no,
Yeah,
it was not bad at all. It's not bad at all, and it just makes me
yeah,
laugh that I remember that from back then to now when we have AI bullshit
Well,
everywhere.
you're right.
Yeah, we,
you
we
know,
have
but
like accents.
Okay.
We
but
have
you
AI accents, and they win Academy Awards now.
do you know how
And
good the
even
effects
like
are though?
in
Is
Star Wars, like even in Star Wars with like fucking young Luke being in fucking shit, and
At
it's
least
like,
at least Mark Hamill's still alive. That one's
right,
like kind of
yeah,
okay. But it's
agreed. But
bad when
like,
it's like what some of them are sweet, I guess, like the recent Ghostbusters ones, but it's still like you took a dead person and you put them in there and you can't really ask them if it's okay or not, I
right,
guess.
and
well,
it's
Yeah, it was like,
weird.
what was it? Oh, it was like in Rogue One with Grand Moff Tarkin. Remember that one?
I do remember that one. And then there was Alien Romulus, which had what's his face in it. So there's like a lot more instances of that now. I
well,
just
also,
compared to me remembering that back then.
you know how good the visual effects are is that that's not the only scene that they did that for. That's like a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
people, but like roughly 15% of the movie is his brothers who do look remarkably like him standing in, and then visual effects work to just make them look exactly like him. And that's, I think, the only scene that's even a little bit noticeable. And to be honest, it's mostly noticeable because you're looking for it.
yeah. It's mostly noticeable in the last one, and even then, it's like to me, I'm more impressed that they were able to do that back then, and it's one of the few moments where I'm like, this is probably something that if Paul Walker still were alive, he'd probably be okay with. I don't
Oh
know him
yeah,
obviously or have any
that's got to
personal, but
be.
this is like one thing where I'm like,
Right. It
this
seems like
is like
something that I'd be okay with personally if
I
I were
mean,
in that position.
oh,
Like, it seems very respectful and
yeah, no, I mean
well handled.
they were 85% of the way through the movie. There was really no way to finish it without you'd almost have to like redo the whole thing and write his character out, and that seems way more disrespectful. His brothers were the stand-ins, and they just basically did touch-up work. Like I don't. He had
I
already
do
filmed 85% of the movie. It wasn't like you were using him against his will. He was going to do all of these things.
I do know that the thing that was interesting was that I was looking this up like this today, and apparently they didn't have because it's back when this wasn't really a big thing, but they didn't have any like digital like scans of Paul
Of his,
Walker,
yeah.
obviously. So they had to, what they did for all of it was they essentially used scans of his brothers, took parts of like stuff that had already been recorded, tried to copy that wherever they could, and then on top of that, superimposed his face on his brother's with the information that they had from scanning his brothers and using his old likeness in other movies, which I just find that interesting that they had to go through like all that process versus now where most of the time you have like a celebrity's, you know, likeness is scanned for CGI in one way or another, and so like you kind of have that data, I guess, presumably.
And I think
in
the
one
reason,
way or another.
yeah, and I think the reason it looks so good and looks better than that stuff is just because it's actual humans doing it, like actual visual effects artists and like audio editors to do that, and not just the aforementioned Adrian Brody using a computer to win an Oscar, essentially.
Also, presumably, because if it looked like absolute garbage, it would not have gone over well, probably. Like, if it were so noticeable that it's the problem,
Oh, no.
it would have been so bad.
I think it would look worse if they did it today.
The other thing that's also interesting, and this just has to go with the CGI part of this too, apparently a lot of this movie doesn't use CGI for a majority of the stunts and everything, and it was primarily used according to various sources on the internet, so take that with a grain of salt. But a majority of the CGI was not used for the stunts, but getting rid of the wires for everything that they did. Which I wanna make a note of that, because I know that probably changes later on.
Oh yeah, that's why I think 5 through 7 is like the peak of the franchise. Is all three of them have like really notable practical stunt work and aren't just at like 8 and beyond. The stuff they do is so out there that you just have to visual effects it, and it takes away a little bit of the charm, even though the effects aren't bad.
Yeah, you can tell too. So it's just something I wanted to make like a note on in my own brain, to be like, this movie definitely had like a good amount of stunt work, and yeah, hats off to the stunt workers for it, because all of it was great. This one I feel like is the last movie before we get like Fast and Furious going to, all these movies are good, but they don't compare.
I feel like it's because in the future, from now on, like in the future Fast and Furious movies, there is more heavy use of CGI. While in this movie there is CGI use, it's still pretty, there's still like a good amount of practical effects used, and they do a good job of marrying the two. Also, Jake is frozen right now for me.
Hell yeah, that's hot. I love it when he freezes like a little gremlin.
It's because I switched off my camera.
Oh, okay.
So all we get to see is
you're frozen.
Jake's beautiful, gorgeous face.
No, because I'm on the call on my phone, and now I'm in my notes app to look at my movie notes.
Okay.
Well, I still like being able to see your frozen little face. Matt, maybe you should lick the screen, so in my mind I can just imagine that a little bit and make some like slurpy noises.
I lick my mic. No.
Okay, for science.
Well, anyway, but in this movie, they still do a good job of marrying the practical and CGI effects to like a more satisfying degree. And it's not like at the end, it's not like some big CGI like huge fight or spectacle. It's racing around the city, playing hot potato with what was her name again?
Ramsey?
Yes, with Ramsey.
So yeah, I mean, let's just get into the actual movie then. After it picks up after the end of 6 and having defeated Owen Shaw, securing pardons for their past crimes, the movie kind of shows you that Dom, Brian, and the team, they've all returned to normal life in the States, and Dom is working to try to get Lady to regain some of her memory. While Brian gets used to being a father and not in the action anymore. We, meanwhile, see that Deckard Shaw has broken into a hospital where a comatose Owen is being held in London and vows to exact revenge on Dom and all of Dom's family. Deckard breaks into the DSS field office in LA and extracts profiles of Dom's crew, fighting Luke Hobbs before escaping by detonating a bomb that severely injures Hobbs. Dom learns from his sister Mia that she's pregnant again and convinces her that she needs to tell Brian, as she expresses concerns that Brian is unhappy with the calmer life. However, a letter bomb sent by Deckard, who we found out in the Fast and Furious post-credit scene, has killed Han in Tokyo, as we've finally caught up with Fast and Furious 3 here at Fast and Furious 7, explodes and destroys the Toretto house, but everybody survives. Dom meets Hobbs and learns about Deckard before traveling to Tokyo to retrieve Han's body and acquire objects found at the crash site by Sean Boswell, as mentioned, returning from Tokyo Drift. Dom, Brian, Tej, and what's up?
I'm just still thinking about Sean Boss. I think.
How old he is?
Yes, I can't laugh back then he didn't look 18. Now he looks worse.
It's so and they don't do anything funny. Either. But I like it. I think it's so much more charming that they're just like, here, let's put this guy who's like gotta be at least in his mid-30s, if not into his 40s. And we're just going to have him play the role. We're not going to really do much with the makeup. We're definitely not going to CGI it, because who cares? You're just happy to see Sean.
Just have him sit there with his 5 o'clock shadow. He's definitely 18. Just trust him.
Looks like he's been smoking five packs a week for 30 years. I guess that's not that many packs a week, but you get the point.
Dude, I don't know he literally looks like he spent years at the construction site and spent every single night drinking and smoking. Like he looks so old. His skin looks like it's about to tape off of his face because of how old he looks at times.
You're so mean. So Dom, Brian, Tej, and Rome are mourning Han and Giselle at Han's funeral, talking about no more funerals. Dom spots Deckard spying on them, and basically they have the one more funeral. They want to kill Deckard. So Dom confronts him in an underground tunnel, but Deckard flees when a covert ops team led by the government agent Mr. Nobody arrives. Mr. Nobody, who is just Kurt Russell in a suit with sunglasses, tells Dom that he will help them stop Deckard if they in turn help him retrieve God's Eye, a computer program capable of tracking a specific individual using anything on a digital network, as well as save its creator Ramsey from Moses Chikande, a Nigerian terrorist. Okay.
I love that this takes place around the time of Tokyo Drift, and yet we have this fucking super science fiction fucking bullshit.
Well, what it did is it retcons Tokyo Drift to being later in time, not this to being earlier. So Tokyo Drift, I think, canonically takes place in like 2016 or 17 even.
I feel they have fucking flip phones in that movie. Yeah. I will not believe otherwise.
They absolutely do. So then you just basically have to, you just got to squint when you look at it and pretend that they just, Tokyo was going through a retro phase. They were really into like the aughts. I don't know.
No, the flip phones really give it away. I'm not going to lie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to, whatever. Okay, the movie does open great, though. I think, like, the Rock Statham fight is, to me, like, the last moment of, like, fan serviciness before it kind of becomes too much. And that, like, that's just so people could see two action stars that have been in so many movies fight each other. There's not... Hobbs is, like, tangentially at best involved with the family. I guess he did help them take down Owen. But it's one of those things, like, they wanted to, The Rock's in this and the end of the movie, and they didn't have him in the rest. I don't know if that was scheduling or budget, but they knew what they had him in. They needed him to have a fist fight with Jason Statham, and it's a good fight.
It is a good fight.
Yes.
It makes me excited. It makes me happy that we got Hobbs and Shaw eventually.
I love how James Wong does action, though. his camera work is very unique, and it's not something I noticed until watching this movie after I watched *Malignant*.
And he's like that in
that's
Aquaman
true.
as well. Yeah, he's
Yeah, it's
very
like
dynamic, very quick.
the big camera pans,
Hmm.
and then how the camera will follow like a person falling down. I can't describe it very well, but he does it in like a very unique way that is one entrancing, but at the same time it's very energetic. The energy of his action scenes are very, very good. It's
I think-
very
Yeah.
entertaining.
It's like
I wish he was in more I wish he directed more action movies. Like, can you imagine him in a John Wick doing like a John Wick film?
Yeah, I was gonna say, as much as he's like known as like a thriller and horror guy, like he knocks it out of the park with action.
It's kind of like the filmic equivalent of like in a comic or any kind of like painting using lines to like denote movement. Obviously, in a motion picture, there's already motion, but it adds to it and gives it so much more oomph and like momentum.
It makes it feel like a movie. That's what I mean when I mean that like this guy makes movies.
Yeah.
So-
I don't know how else to
I wish
describe
I
it.
saw this in theaters.
Me too.
I really wish I did. I wish I saw it seeing like, because I seen Fast 5 in theaters, but not 6 and 7. I wish I saw those two movies in theaters.
If these ever get like anniversary re-releases, I'm going in a heartbeat. I would see these in 40x.
Yeah, I have to go.
I would.
These movies,
I
like
would
from the
100%
sound
do that.
design from my headphones alone are enough to get my, to get like my adrenaline up, and I can't imagine what it's like to be in an IMAX theater watching these.
Oh, imagine 40x, which is like such a gimmick, but for certain things it's gotta rip, and I gotta imagine Fury Road would be sick.
Oh yes, Fury Road would be so good.
Oh man.
Fury Road is
Um,
just sick, period. We should talk about Fury Road.
Let's just do that. Let's cover that in Furiosa annually.
I have no problem
I'm
with
down.
that.
We can
I'm
do it.
down.
I
You
have
know
no
what?
problem with
Whoever wins the Fantasy League one shot episode, you could just pick that to do again. Um, so right off the bat, though, like it's a great entertaining fight, but also I think this is the first truly good fast villain we get. He's immediately
Oh
intimidating.
god, yes.
He's already killed Han, so you already hate him, and it already feels like anybody could die because he's killed Han. Listen. There was really no world where he was going to be able to kill off the Rock's character, but he severely harmed him and taken him out of commission. So you feel like pretty much that, and because I think, frankly, me and a lot of people the first time through were primed to expect Brian to die, and the script plays into that a lot with a lot of emphasis on, just come home and one last mission. You really think he's gonna die, so it immediately feels like anybody but probably The Rock and Vin Diesel isn't safe.
They also do a great job of like Shaw's whole thing is that he just wants to take them out for hurting his brother. There is nothing else to it. He just wants to fuck them up.
Yeah,
It's just straight business.
Which I think is even more threatening considering everybody in the past has been like, you've just kind of gotten in my way, and he's just like, no, I just want you all dead.
yeah. He's
Right,
like a
he's
force
just
of
like,
nature.
I just hate all of you.
And there's the obvious mirror too of like, I mean, he's fighting this for his family. Obviously, Owen was in the wrong, and he even kind of acknowledges that when he has the whole spiel about always having to get Owen out of trouble when he does bad stuff. But he doesn't care. He's just kind of above all else, like he's still my brother, so I got to do this. And so that matches him up nicely with Dom, whose main factor is always protecting family. Like, how many
Yeah.
times does Dom
Yeah,
pull Vince's
absolutely.
fat out of the fire when Vince did shitty stuff? So you kind of respect him.
Yeah, you do kind of have to respect it. Also, yeah, he is the best villain that we've seen so far. It's just, I feel like in the Fast series, at least from like 5 to 6, like if you want to be like a side character, you have to have some charisma. If you don't, you're almost immediately kicked out.
And Statham has
And then-
charisma.
Oh, he has tons of it. That him and Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, let's
They-
talk about.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
they
Mr.
basically
Nobody's
just say
great
like,
ad.
oh, exactly.
Well,
They're
real
just
quick,
like
before
Kurt
we
Russell,
get to
just
Kurt
be
Russell,
yourself is essentially what they said.
Yeah.
When they
before
told him
we
to come
get
on
too
the
deep
movie.
into Kurt Russell, I do want to say, like, I feel like the Shaws are really the, like, where we start getting, like, memorable villains in the Fast franchise.
Oh yeah.
In the
Yeah.
sense that, like, the first few are, like, the antagonist is just kind of there so that we have a reason to watch these guys drive cars fast. And it's kind of, like, not really that strong or memorable. I feel like, you know, Jason Statham and, what the fuck, Luke Wilson, who's his brother played by? No.
Luke Evans.
I knew
I
it
was
wasn't
about to
Luke
say
Wilson, by
Orlando
the way.
Brown, but I'm like, oh no, that's not it.
Oh yeah, and you have
But they really were such strong villains and great at playing them. And having that family dynamic with the villains, I think, really helps the franchise.
and then eventually you get even more with we'll meet their sister Hattie and their mother played by Helen Mirren. I would watch just
Which
like
is
a
great.
Shaw. If you gave me like a Shaw family spinoff of like a heist action movie that was the four Shaws, Luke Evans, Jason Statham, Vanessa Kirby, Helen Mirren, I would watch the shit out of it. Let them be
Yeah, I
ambiguous.
agree.
Let them be
Please.
doing an actual crime, but not be evil people. And like just the four of those people cooking.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
Cook.
I don't need a Hobbs and Shaw sequel. I want just the Shaw family.
Just the Shaw family.
I want
It's gonna
the,
be the.
the four of them. Just the four of them.
You should just what was it? Do like a Fast and Furious version of The Sopranos, except for it's called The Shaws.
Oh, I'd watch
And then
that.
I need like a sitcom with a Roman Tej.
Yeah, I want a sitcom. Roman Tej.
Where they're like roommates or something.
Oh yeah. I want a sitcom type, weird sitcom spy vibe, almost like they're roommates, but it has like a bit of a 9-9 vibe because they're still doing like action stuff. For the two of them, give me a crime heist thing with the Shaws, and give me a Letty and Mia movie. Anyway, I can't get enough of this stuff. I do like Mr. Nobody though because it's such a good world building movie. This one, that agency coming in and Kurt Russell totally understands the assignment. He's having so much fun with it. Doesn't seem above it at all. It's just immediately kind of pulls you into the next stage of how like increasingly sci-fi this is.
That's the thing, is that this is like the start of the transition into like the Fast and Furious turning into fast. It's like fast and impossible. Like it was a time in which I had to like slap myself back to reality that I'm not watching a Mission Impossible movie. I am watching a Fast and Furious movie. I did have like that moment because like going from like. Because it wasn't too long ago that I was watching like Tokyo Drift, like Fast 2, Fast 3, and now I'm watching them work with a shadow agency, going after another shadow agency. And the fact is that the transition doesn't feel like knee jerky. It doesn't feel forced in any kind of way. It feels more natural, and I'm not taken aback to the point where it takes me out of the film. I'm still enjoying it. I need to applaud the Fast and Furious creators and producers. Like they did a good job like transitioning into like the spy genre, because I don't think you can convince someone watching Fast and Furious 1 back in like 2000 whatever that this is going to turn into a spy franchise with cars.
Also, that the transition was just done so perfectly. I mean, like
exactly.
It's there. are so many examples of movies fucking up in terms of, you know, having their franchise evolve as time goes on. So, like, especially now when everything is some sort of franchise or another. So, like, to see at least, one do something, at least at the time,
Yeah, I don't
that
think.
was, like, good. I don't know. It fascinates me.
And I don't think the franchises, and maybe some people will have the mind that this isn't a good thing, but for me it is. Without these additions, these types of additions, I don't think the franchise is still going. It would have gotten left in the dust. It wouldn't if it didn't adjust for audience tastes and adjust for just how do we not repeat ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
One way it really does that is like everything becomes larger in life. Like one of my favorite bits comedy wise is also for Mr. Nobody, and he has an obsession with Belgian ale. So they're at this like secret military base and he has kegs set up tapped to give him Belgian ale. And when Dom's like, I'm more of a Corona guy, he whips out a branded Corona bucket full of
I
them.
know. I saw
And
that. I laughed out loud when I saw that because I'm just like, oh my god, is Snoop Dogg gonna come around the corner and then it's just the background gonna transition into a beach? And I'm just gonna be watching a Corona commercial because it just felt like it was gonna be that.
And I know it's a glorified ad. Like I know it's product placement, but it's just funny and in character.
Here's the thing,
It's
right?
almost
when you have
cartoony.
a franchise like Fast and Furious, if you are like shameless enough, you can make it really funny. And I feel like they did that perfectly.
Yeah, that's the thing is like it's product placement, but it feels like they're in on the joke of how on the nose it is, so I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. You know what kind of reminds me? For those of you who play like Final Fantasy, in Final Fantasy 15, there is a cup noodle sponsorship. And Sean knows what I'm talking about. So I think just at a random occurrence, one of your companions will pull you aside and then he'll talk about how amazing cup noodle is, and then you have a whole side quest dedicated to getting cup noodles.
God, I fucking hate. I remember that.
It's one of the greatest product placements I have ever seen in my life because it's so shameless. It's so shameless, but so funny. Like, I need to find it. I need to find it.
Fast and Furious doesn't shy away from short films. I would fucking find it hilarious if they had like the most over-the-top short film and the entire thing is Dom just trying to get a Corona.
I mean,
have you
like Ice Age with the nut.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I consider the Haagen-Dazs commercial canon.
Dom. Oh my god.
Quick sidebar on the note of product placement. I know Jake has, but have you guys seen the what was it, 2015 Power Rangers movie?
Oh my gosh! Are you talking about the ones where the suits just look like mech suits?
I love that movie. You will not.
I love that movie.
Come after it, man.
I love that movie.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that's just what they look like.
Yes, but do you remember the Krispy Kreme product placement?
Yeah, Krispy Kreme is a central point of the plot, and I'm not joking.
It's MacGuffin.
So fucking good. They literally there's a part where like the villain like hears about it and they're like, Krispy Kreme, is this a magical place? And you know what? So fucking funny.
And if you're an adult and you're mad at that, why you watching a Power Rangers movie? Stop acting like you're above it.
Exactly. It's so funny.
It comes into the action too, because like the next part of the movie is the team they create what Tej calls the monster love child of like a sports car and armored trucks, and they have these like armored parachute equipped cars that on Rome's idea, though he ends up being so scared and they have to force him out, they back out of an airplane and parachute onto a mountain so they can ambush people. And that's again, like if there was any doubt before, you're moving into just live action cartoon territory in I think the best way. Because it also still all looks really good. The effects all look great. Feels like something the characters would do if in a world where that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could definitely happen. Oh god damn it! Now I want cup noodles.
You deserve cup noodles. Yeah, so they airdrop these modified cars over the Caucasus Mountains and ambush Jakande's convoy, where they rescue Ramsey, much to her distress because she doesn't know what the fuck's going on. There's some really good direction from Juan here, who like Jason and Matt, and I guess all of us, Sean, talked about earlier, can really direct action. There's like every action that happens in a fight, in a chase, has an impact on it as to what occurs next. So there's just so much fluidity and momentum. And so over the course of this fight, they're freeing Ramsey. They're trying to get the drive back to the God's Eye chip that from this billionaire who's hidden it in a Lycan Hypersport. There's a card description for you, Shawnee. And a flash drive in that car with the God's
Finally,
Eye.
we get one.
They leave. They leave to Abu Dhabi to try to get this chip from the billionaires after saving Ramsey, who trusts them because she says she can't. Does anyone remember the reasoning she gives for why she trusts them? She gives some like corny ass reasoning why she believes.
She says that it's they're either together out of fear or loyalty, and she didn't see anybody being afraid.
She did see Roman Ted's pervin on her.
What
is also that.
That's true. What was it? He just said like, what was it like? God, no, it's not Paul. What's the character's name again? Oh my god, I'm confusing their real life names with their character names. Brian? Yes. Like Brian's like an ex-cop. What was it? And he said like called out Tej for being a hacker because he was pretty envious of her hacker title or something like that.
It was
what Sean asked out before is that they're together out of loyalty or fear.
Yeah. She says Rome because Rome makes a comment about how she's hot even though she's a tech person or whatever, and Tej is like offended by the remark. So she's like, "Oh, I know you're a tech person." Or it's stupid, but it's I like the corny parts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but before we transition out of that scene, I do want to talk about the action because a lot of good action has good payoff, and that action scene in particular has a lot of good payoff. I love the battering ram scene. So like it's one after another, all the cars start to accelerate in a line, and then Tej just lets it loose and it fucking demolishes the two trucks in front of them. That was incredible. Also, the scene in which Brian, not Paul, Brian was fighting that martial arts master in that truck, and how it escalates from like them fighting in a very condensed space to then the driver getting shot and the truck getting flipped over, and you could just see Brian and the bad guy in the truck as the truck was getting flipped over. That was pretty cool as well. Like, there's a lot of good payoff, and again, James Wong, like he's known for horror, but man, he's so good at action.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, that's a great synopsis.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
couldn't have said it better.
So the family goes to Abu Dhabi. They're gonna try to get this flash drive out of this car with God's Eye on it. We get to see Rome absolutely serving in a cummerbund. There's also a very funny scene where Letty is in a fist fight with new franchise worst actor Ronda Rousey. They're having a fist fight. Tej and Ramsey are like hacking their asses off. Brian and Dom need to get this car out of a penthouse, so they're driving it between buildings, between skyscrapers. And the whole time Rome is just doing crowd work.
That was my favorite.
That was also my favorite.
That sums up everyone's role so well.
I know. I also love the payoff of when they see the car for the first time. They're just like, "Oh, this is actually like one of 7 in the world." And then Dom's just like, "It's a shame that a this beast is caged or something like that.
Yes.
And then they go into the car and they're going to drive it out of the garage. And then Dom was just like, "It's time to unleash the beast." It's so stupid. I love it so much.
Yeah, it is great, and that's my favorite. Probably my favorite like stunt or set piece in Fast is them jumping this car between the tops of skyscrapers from one building into the next.
I know it's so good, and then the brakes don't start working, so they have to go jump into a third building.
And they jump into the third building, and you get that great shot of the car falling down past that family eating dinner. Which is like a classic type of joke, but it's just so funny. Classic for a reason.
I forgot that. I remembered them driving through buildings, but I just forgot that it was in this one until I saw it happen, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing. I thought this happened in Fast 5, but I'm like, wait, no. That's like the safe one, right? Yeah, I confused all the movies together, which is why I'm glad we're doing this, so then I can refresh my memory.
Definitely, yeah. In 5 through 7, there's just so much good, so it's easy to be like, it's just one massive, amazing movie. So
yeah, it's like this. What do we call this? Like the Golden Age, the Golden Trilogy?
I don't know.
Because this is essentially what it is. Like, it's just 3
ones.
movies, exactly, and they have like I feel like they do all connect together very nicely, and then like 7 is like a great like end mark, and then you can watch like Hobbs and Shaw on the side, but like. Those 3 movies are essentially like the perfect Fast and Furious trilogy. And man, if they end on Fast 7, like I feel like Fast and Furious would be considered like hailed as like one of like the greatest franchises of all time. I mean, it still is.
Yeah, so I would still kind of put it up there. I guess that's stuff that's better to talk about when we're caught up on the series, but. Yeah, I think today at the end, like after we're through this movie, it's an interesting conversation to be had about if this should have been where they ended it.
Yeah, like they go so over the top that going any further, it could like it almost borders on parody. Seeing like how far they're trying to push it, just to see they can like one up the other. But it's just too much at some point. Like, you just can't do it without making the movie seem... I don't want to say silly, because none of the movies, at least I think, don't take themselves too seriously. But, like, it loses that charm. Because at least... Oh, my gosh. How do I explain this? Oh, yeah, like, I can buy into it. Right, like that these like ridiculous things can happen, but then you can only push my stretch of the imagination so far until I'm just like, this is kind of ridiculous. You know what I'm trying to say? But again, this is a conversation for later on when we get to the other movies.
So yeah, definitely, it's something that kind of keeps evolving. Like I feel like we talk about these things so differently already than we did 6 movies ago when we started, or how 7 movies.
Well, yeah, exactly, because we basically just started as like, oh, these are like good racing movies, but that was their identity. They were just good racing movies. They weren't necessarily like something of spectacle or something unique until like 5 happened, like 5, 6, 7. This is when like Fast. This is what the Fast we know today as like the high stakes, like high spy thrillers.
Yeah,
this is like when they found like their niche, like their identity.
And I'm of the mind that movies are largely sequel proof too. Like, and I'm someone who's pretty positive on the Fast that comes after this, though I think this is the peak. But I don't think like even if you hate 8 through 10, 5 through 7 are still the same movies, so these are still great. I don't think this is tainted any at all, at the very least, by the fact that they kept going.
Yeah, I don't necessarily hate the movies that come after this. If I remember correctly, I didn't watch 8. 9, I did not like. 10 was fine. Jason Momoa was very fun. And I am very excited for part 2.
Me too.
Whenever that comes out.
God, I hope
maybe
so.
when Vin Diesel turns 60. they'll come out with with Fast and Furious 10 Part 2.
I know he's also directing a short film, a sequel to Los Bandoleros, apparently, to bridge between Part 1 and 2. But, like, no spoilers because it's not the movie. But if you know how Part 1 ends, I don't really understand what the bridge between the movies would be, but we'll see. That's not for us to know yet.
I am excited to see Van Diesel behind the director's chair. I'm very curious as to what that's going to be like.
And he directed the first Los Bandoleros, and it's pretty good. So I guess we'll see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They secure God's Eye and they use it to hunt down Deckard to an abandoned factory, but are ambushed by Chakande and his henchmen, who have now allied with Deckard, and they're forced to flee as Chakande obtains God's Eye. Mr. Nobody is medically extracted, while also, heads up, I don't even remember if I'm saying Chakande right. That character is so forgettable and such a waste of Jaimin Hunsu that I don't remember if that's the pronunciation. I love this movie, but they're just kind of a plot necessity so that Deckard has men behind him. Anyway, because as much as a one-man army as he is, the family's the family. So Mr. Nobody has to be medically extracted, and the team returns to LA. Dom goes to fight Deckard alone, while Letty, Brian, Tej, and Rome resolve to protect Ramsey from Chakande. Brian promises Mia that he will fully dedicate himself to her family after he defeats Deckard, and Chakande pursues Brian and the rest of the team with a stealth helicopter and an aerial drone. Ramsey attempts to hack into the God's Eye. Discovering the situation, Hobbs, who's laid up in the hospital with a fully cast arm, as he's broken the whole thing, stands up, looks at his daughter, who we find out in this movie he has a daughter, says, "Daddy's got to go to work," and flexes his cast off as it crumbles to the floor. He then proceeds to take down a drone, rip out the drone's minigun, and use it.
Oh, by the way,
This is the
double
greatest
tapped
thing.
the drone too. We need to specify that.
He takes the drone out with an ambulance he's commandeered that he drives off of a bridge.
And then he double taps the drone just to make sure it's dead.
It's
God,
great.
Now, let
that
me just
entire
say,
sequence
this is the
pure cinema.
It's
this
also the
entire
fact that
sequence
it's
is
also
the
the fact
greatest
that
thing
the guy controlled
that
the
Doc
drone.
Johnson has ever done.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's also the fact that the guy who was controlling the drone, who was just like, our drone got double tapped. Like, who the fuck says that? But
Guys, just
Like,
watch
that's
Zombie.
not how and like that is not how people talk. Like, you know what I mean? It's just so like anytime there's dialogue in something where I'm like, that's not how people talk. It makes me smile.
Mhm. It's like
It's one of my favorite things.
it's like video game NPC talk. Like, this is not how people talk.
Exactly. Like I'm just like that wouldn't be what that guy said.
But yet again, this franchise is like my metric for fun. Like, if you heard all that and you don't think that sounds fun, sorry, you're not. I don't think I've said that. I think almost every one of these, but it's just like it's such a clear divide to me. Like, that just sums it up so well. What you're in for, like, spectacle wise.
Daddy's gotta go to work.
It's
I
amazing.
feel like we should watch Hobbs and Shaw before we watch 8.
Well, Hobbs and Shaw is set after 8. Why would we watch it next?
Okay, never mind.
Matt doesn't understand watching things in chronological order.
Yeah,
we should. Actually, you know what? No, I'm with Matt. We should pull we'll pull a little Tokyo Drift on us, and we'll go back in time for a little bit to watch 8 after we watch Hobbs and Shaw.
Vito Corleone. Yeah, so I mean, the action continues to be great. You also get a lot of. There's some other good one-liners in here. I love. Is it? The Vin Diesel says, like, I think to Shaw, I don't got friends, I got family. That's hilarious.
I also think this is like I think the last movie is when we start to like hear the Van Diesel we know now, as in like the the mumbling old guy who we can't understand anymore. Like there's a noticeable jump from 6 to 7. Like there are times in which I'm like, oh wait, shit, I have no idea what he said, and I had to turn on the subtitles.
That's hilarious.
It's going to get worse because he starts mumbling like a baritone as we get further into these movies. Like, it's going to be so interesting to see, and I am going to monitor it because it is very entertaining.
I have another side note for y'all. Do you guys think Rome has anxiety? Because have you ever noticed that every single plan, every single time, he's always like, this is impossible. This is the time we die. Every single time. He's so pessimistic.
I mean,
I think he needs medication. I think that man is confident and anxious at the same time.
Yeah, I see that. That.
I mean, it's just, but it's another example of like they continue to understand these characters through this point, and that's why they keep being watchable. Because five had a great ending, 6 had a great ending. You could have ended on either of those if you wanted to. You could end on this one, but they keep it like Rome always acts like Rome. Tej always acts like Tej. They're all always themselves, and it's so comforting.
I do also love in the beginning of this when they're like setting up the plan for everything and they have Rome set up the plan. And he just goes like, why don't we go here? And they're like, no, well, that's the worst place to go. And then they go like, well, actually, he might have a point. And he just bullshitted his way through the whole thing by just magically getting the first area that he chose right.
Well, like the thing is just like when he first got selected, he was just like, "Oh, well, I'm not talking about being a leader now." And then he just, like Sean said, he bullshitted his way through it by basically letting other people talk about a plan. And he's just like, "Yeah, that's what a leader does."
Delegates,
exactly.
Oh, that's
another thing about these movies. That's another one thing about these movies that makes it great. It's because honestly, like the driving is fun, but it's also the characters.
Definitely. I mean, I love pretty much every single one of them. And this is the first time I've loved this villain.
Main recurring cast is like, yeah, and this is like, I mean, like I said, the Shaws are like the kind of the beginning of good villains or decent villains. So I mean, I completely agree. I mean, we have a full cast of great characters in this one.
Speaking of lovable too, is Mr. Nobody the first government agent to like actually honor his word when he says he'll help the family if they do his dirty work for him?
I think so.
And I think it's also really funny because nothing makes me trust Mr. Nobody, but he's so goofy the entire time, along with everybody else, that he's like, he's so endearing to me that it makes it okay.
It
like that stupid ass wink that he did before he got shot. It just explained everything about that character, and I love him.
Yeah, it's like you kind of want to be put off by him at first, but it's like, no, he's just valid.
I know. He just looks at the camera. It's just like, I know I'm going to get shot.
Yeah, he perfectly understood the script.
Mm-hmm. And then he was going on about like a monologue, and you think it's going to be his last words, and then he just talks about how much Dom should try a Belgian ale.
God, what a legend! What an icon!
I know.
So we have. Sorry, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, they just don't. Right now, like so far, like the 3 movies, they just don't miss.
They really have not missed since 4. Yeah, I mean, and it's all great. The comedy, the action, the characters, the soap opera shit. This one has some real peak soap opera coming up. So let's see. Hobbs takes down that drone. Him and the family kill Gigande and Gigande's henchmen. Brian hijacks the signal of Peter Tower, which allows Ramsey to regain control of God's Eye and shut it down. The military closes in on the city. Chikande is attempting to flee and spots Dom and Deckard, who are engaging in a brawl, a street fight on top of this public parking garage for what, for my money, is the best like hand-to-hand fight in the whole Fast saga.
Mm-hmm.
It's just brutal, and it's just like it's two guys that genuinely just want to kill each other, and they're both so bold and so stereotypical masculine, and so good at what
They're so and bald.
and bald. Two good-looking guys, just two of the handsomest motherfuckers to ever walk the earth, just beating the piss out of each other.
I know. And don't forget, when you mess with the streets always win.
Yes. So the fight continues. Chikande turns on Deckard and attacks both men. Dom uses the distraction to defeat Deckard by causing part of the parking lot to collapse beneath him. Where for already damaged parking lot, he, yes, as Matt kind of said, looks at Deckard and says the thing about street fights is the street always wins, stomps, and the entire parking garage rumbles. This crumble also creates a very convenient ramp that Dom will use to launch his Star Charger off of to clip Chikande's helicopter and deposit a bag of grenades on the landing gear before crashing into the rubble of the garage. Hobbs then shoots the grenades with a shotgun, destroying the helicopter and killing Chikande. After Brian and Hobbs help Letty bring out Dom's unconscious, seemingly dying body, Letty cradles him as he isn't breathing and tells him that she's fully regained all of her memories and that she's remembered that in the previously mentioned short film, which this was not seen in it, but during that time, they had been married and nobody knew but them. Dom regains consciousness at this revelation. Deckard is arrested by Hobbs and the CIA, where he is locked up in a black site prison. The rest of the team relaxes on a tropical beach while Brian and Mia play with their son Jack. Dom, Letty, Roman, Tej, and Ramsey look on, now realizing that Brian is now happily going to be retired with his family, and that nothing will ever be quite the same again. Dom drives away, and Brian catches up with him, telling him, "You thought you could leave without saying goodbye?" We get a montage that borderline breaks the fourth wall of all of their moments together, and Paul Walker and Brian O'Connor's moments with the cast, with the characters throughout the entire franchise, as the well-known Wiz Khalifa Charlie Puth collab "See You Again" plays, and the scene that I am sorry, I don't care how silly these movies are, and I don't care how many times I've seen it, will make me tear up every time. It is so beautiful and so sad.
Well,
Dom,
it's very genuine. I feel like that
crazy.
doesn't matter if it's
sincere.
quote unquote silly or I don't think it matters if it's quote unquote silly or not. I think as long as it comes from a sincere place, a lot of people will accept it for the way it is.
Hell
And I think
yeah.
this tribute as well, because I remember like this when this movie came out, a lot of people cried during the tribute to Paul Walker, and it's understandable as to why they did, is because it was very clear that he was loved and they enjoyed working with him. And then the movie ends with him driving a white car into the sunset.
Hell yeah.
I think.
Hell yeah.
I agree with Matt. I think it's one of those things where I wouldn't ever call it silly. I feel like it's one of those things where people call people being genuine and just like sincere, and like people are just being sincere and genuine, and then they find it cringe, and I don't know.
Yeah,
how
it's weird to.
Because don't you know it's because
have
sharing
emotions.
your feelings is cringe, Sean.
Having feelings is cringe.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't agree with that, and I feel like this, while yeah, some people can consider it goofy, I guess, I feel like it comes from a place of like, again, everybody I feel like on the cast was kind of sincere about this and like felt the same way about it, and was just it all coalesced into something that I find was really sweet and kind of gets the emotions across fairly well.
It felt like there was real love put into it, at least from his co-stars,
Yeah.
if nothing else.
Yeah, it's
And I think
unfortunate.
that's a beautiful thing to see on the screen.
It is a beautiful thing to see.
Though very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And to date, I think they have handled his passing as well as anyone could handle it within this ongoing story. I mean, it's so beautiful that Vin Diesel and like this whole cast and crew, and I don't know who really pitched the main idea, but created this world that they can kind of step into periodically and almost feel like they're in a world where Paul Walker got to have a happy ending instead of dying so suddenly, and where their friend is alive. It's just so beautiful and unexpected.
Teary-eyed.
It is. I mean, it really chokes me up because it's like anybody like it's special that they can to an extent do that, and it's not the same as him being there, but I think there's something magical, and that's kind of why I'm okay with the franchise continuing, because they want it would have been really easy to kill off the character, to kill off Brian, but I think they went the unexpected route and got to like give people a sense of, while still acknowledging the sorrow of a friend you don't see anymore, get to have some kind of happiness to that story. He already died in real life. He doesn't need to die here. He should get to be with his wife and kids.
Exactly. They literally just send him off into the sunset and give him the happy ending that he deserved. And it's like, it's just something that they could control, right? Because of his death is unfortunate, and no one could have seen or controlled the outcome. But with what they did control, they paid a very touching tribute to their friend and their co-worker. Not co-worker is not the right word. That feels disingenuous. Their friend. And, give his character that he portrayed a happy ending that both him and the actor that played him deserved. And to give him, closure and peace.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. And I'm glad like he's still technically alive in the Fast universe and just doesn't do it doesn't like hang out with the crew anymore because he's retired. I'm glad like they kept that. Because his spirit lives on. And it'll forever live on. And even if the Fast Furious movies ends, his legacy and his impact will always be felt.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So
Jake, are you there?
Yeah. I just sometimes there's gaps, and I think you're not talking, so I start to talk, and then you're actually still talking, and sometimes there's gaps, and I think you're about to talk, and you don't talk. I can't read a room, I guess. Yeah, I mean it's beautiful. I don't know how much I can say other than I think for the third consecutive movie they stick the landing. It's a perfect ending with the cards they were dealt. I think 5 came in, and fictionally you had a dead beloved character, and they figured out a way to make it work. And then you come in with 6, and you've brought that character back, and you make it work in a natural way, and you give them a great ending, and Dom and Letty reunite. And now with 7, you have the actual passing of an actor playing one of the original leads, and you find a way to give that character the proper ending, and to let people kind of grieve through the movie who maybe have been watching this since they've been coming out. I didn't watch any of these until well after Paul Walker's death, but it really hits because I almost forgot watching through them that he's dead, and that every time if you watch these, you're going to get to 7 and that character is going to be gone. And it makes you sad, but you don't want to see the character again because one, it would feel disrespectful, but you just want him. Also, you want the fictionalized character to be happy.
Yeah. God, if there ever is a time in which there is like some for godforsaken reason they bring up CG Paul Walker, I hope that they experience karma like no other, because that is so genuinely disrespectful.
Yeah, I wouldn't see it if they did that.
Yeah, that would be the straw for me too.
That would be the one thing. I think that maybe not the one thing, but like one of the only things they could do that would make me not see a Fast movie.
Yeah. The movie ends with them recalling their memories and driving off in separate directions. Does anyone have more to say about the finale, both the big set pieces or the final scene at the beach, or are we into final thoughts already? I feel like this flew by for me.
I mean, I feel like I already said my piece.
Yeah, I think I mostly said everything I have to say. You know, how can we not talk about a family when family's all that we got?
Yeah.
Everything I went through.
You're gonna
You
get
were
taken
standing
down.
there by my side.
You're going to get us taken down. We're gonna get copyright
I'm
struck.
just saying. I'm not. These are all. I'm just.
He's just saying random things. It has no relation to any copyrighted property.
Like when brotherhood comes first, then the line will never be crossed.
And keeping it transformative keeps the line of copyright from being crossed. And no one listens to this. We can't get caught. If you can be copyright infringement in the woods and no one's there to hear it, did it happen?
If Cameron Thomas, aka Wiz Khalifa, hears this and takes us down, then
he's in the full government.
That means he listens to the pod.
Wiz Khalifa, friend of the podcast, come on the pod, Wiz. We'll cover whatever you want.
The pod after you sue us, after we settle out the court.
He actually is very welcome on the pod, though.
Oh,
Did you know that that's his real last name, though? His real last name is Thomas, but with a Z.
Did not know.
His name's Cameron Thomas.
That's awesome.
I'll take anybody famous to come on the pod.
Not anybody.
Yeah, like if Jared Leto were ever to listen to the podcast and ask if he can come on, I will genuinely tell him to fuck off.
No, I'm selling out. I'm selling out. I'm leaving you guys for him.
No, fuck you. Like
I stand on business. If you bring Jared on this bitch, I'm out.
What about Troy Bond? He's not like famous, and he's a nerd. You know who I'm talking about, Jason. That's achievable.
That'd be cool.
Let's get Dan. I'll slide into Dan's DMs. Get him back. Anyway, I definitely recommend this movie. I said it at the top, but this is my favorite one so far. It was my favorite going into this rewatch. It's my favorite one still. Everything about it is great. There's not a bad piece of action. It's never boring. They do such a good job honoring Paul Walker with moments of his character. I love like the recap on just like how ridiculously down bad for Mia he was in the original, talking about the tuna on white with no crust and how many of those he ate. Everything, the stuff that doesn't have anything to do with him directly still fits this idea. The overt sincerity of how soap opera it is, how soapy, I guess I could have just said. And Dom, when Letty asked Dom why he didn't tell her that they were married when she came back to them, he says, you can't tell somebody that they love you. And the other unspoken half of that, that you have to show people you love them. And that they're showing that even in Paul Walker's absence. It's just, I know I said that Jaimin Hunsu's wasted, and I guess that's my worst part of the movie. That, or I don't know, Mia's always a little bit too sidelined in these. But as a whole, this is essentially perfect to me. I couldn't have imagined it better. And it's really a perfect ending and perfect send-off specifically to Paul Walker / Brian O'Connor. And to bring the brothers in to fill into adding that family, it's just beautiful. It's so great. And I fucking love sincerity and being mushy.
Yeah, I agree with everything Jake said. I think that this was the perfect Fast movie. They could have stopped here and I would have been content with it. I'm not mad that they didn't, because I've enjoyed the movies that have come since. But it's a perfect send-off for, excuse me. it's a perfect send off for Brian, and it's a perfect tip of the hat to the fact that within the universe he's still going to remain friends and stay within the lives of the gang to some degree, but also still acknowledging to the viewer that it is goodbye for him as an actor and as a character for a much bigger and much sadder reason. So I think the best part of the movie is that it just handled that perfectly. It's tough to deal with cast member untimely passing, especially while filming, and I think they did that as best they could. So hats off to them. And I'm not even gonna say a worst part because I can't think of one, so I'm not even gonna do it. I recommend it.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch it.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Like, I feel like what was that? A perfect movie. There's no such thing as a perfect movie, but if
It
a
was
movie,
a perfect
if a
Fast
movie,
and Furious movie
exactly,
to me.
if a movie accomplishes the goals it's set out to do, then I'm gonna say it's a perfect movie in my eyes. Because if it hits all the notes it wants to, if it hits all the goals it wants to, then how can you call it a failure? So I'm gonna say it's a pretty not necessarily like flawless because no movie is objectively flawless, but is it my perfect Fast and Furious movie? Yeah, like the last three movies, like they're the quintessential Fast and Furious movies. Like I have like little to no complaints about any single one of them. And the fact that like as Jason talked about before, like how they met with one of the actors met an unfortunate end and how they handled that situation in a very tasteful manner. It just makes the movie more of like more of like an authentic family movie. You can feel like how much they care about each other. Like, yeah. So yeah, I say watch a movie. I recommend it.
I also agree. I recommend this movie. I don't really want to talk about like a bad part about this movie because like it wasn't it's hard when every part of it comes together so well to find something I dislike about it, and the fact that I have to try is what disappoints me a little bit in a way that I don't feel like I should have to try and find something that I found bad about it. In terms of good things, The Rock flexing his cast off is by far my favorite thing ever, and I will forever remember him saying, "Daddy's got to go to work." And I'd like to imagine that I was his daughter in that room at that time when he flexed his cast off.
Sometimes I like to
that
say
was
that
me. It was
to get up for work.
definitely
Say it
My
to
favorite part
Daddy
is
to go to
still.
work.
I want you,
My favorite
Sean.
part is still the streets always win.
Yeah,
It's
the
so
street always
stupid.
win.
It was so stupid. I loved it so much.
Sean,
It is such a
Sean,
great line.
I want you to do me a favor. Tomorrow morning, when you get out of bed, I want you to look over at your fiance and say, "Daddy's got to go to work," and flex your bicep, and just see what happens. Report back. Talk about it next episode. Tell us how it went. I could do the same.
Jesus Christ. I will do that.
Do that.
Matt, do it to your cat. Jason, do it to your mother.
No.
Do it to your mother. Daddy's gotta go to work.
Biscuit, Dad's got to go to work.
No, wait. I can't see anything Matt's doing, so it makes it 10 times worse that he just says, "Daddy's gotta go to work."
Wait, Sean. I think we should. When we do our groomsmen photo shoots for one of our weddings, we could do one where we're all posing like doing that, and we can caption it. "Daddy's gotta go to work."
Should we buy like a cast for each one of us and then flex it off during the photo shoot?
This is getting so elaborate.
Yeah. Elaborately funny.
Oh my god. Okay, have we all said our hearts full? Or,
I haven't said
my
Daddy's
heart's a
gotta go
flutter
to
right
work
now.
enough.
Okay. Unless I'm cutting anyone off, that's the end of the podcast. So thanks to Alofet, ALOFETT. You know how to spell it by now. Only our family listens to this, and that's only some of them. For the pod artwork, thank you to Jason for the pod music.
Yeah. That was me. I made the pod music. The upsides on SoundCloud. At one point, I'll put things up there. But more importantly, follow my band, Band PA on Instagrizzy. Me and Casey. Looking for a bassy.
Yeah.
All of you didn't
Never
see,
come.
but while Jason was continuing his spew, he was like waving it off as if he's trying to tell us to move on, and then nobody responded. He's like, he's like, and then he continued on like he's being forced to do it at gunpoint.
I
Yeah.
am.
Follow Culture
Jake
Litter.
has a gun pulled on me.
Follow. I'm in a different
Jake,
area.
don't shoot.
We're
Jake, don't shoot.
Yeah, don't shoot your desert
we're
eagle.
50
Don't
minutes
do
apart
it,
by
Jake.
car. That's. Please follow. If you don't want me to shoot Jason, follow and subscribe to Culture Litter on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Illiterate_pod. That's the Blue Sky. That's the Instagram. I think we technically have a TikTok account that I haven't posted to. If it's a social that's us, that'll be the ad. Email us at cultureilliteratepod@gmail.com. Send us emails, leave comments, leave reviews. Do that whether you're a friend, family, or just someone who straggles in. Engage with us, please. Next
Yeah,
episode,
do it, please. We're lonely.
gonna continue with Fast and Furious. Moving on to the fate of the Furious, the fate of the Furious. And that should prove an interesting conversation on if the saga should or should not have continued. So we'll see you then. Okay, circle back in the new year. Bye.